Here with Coach Eric Nicksick of Xtreme Couture, who is, of course, cornering Sean Strickland in the main event of UFC 297. And I got to believe that every fighter going into a fight week has their own kind of different little energy, different little things that you're not even worried about, but just half expecting this or that. How would you describe a Sean Strickland fight week?
We really don't even try to talk to him. We try to just stay away from him as much as possible. But a fight week for him is actually kind of like training during a normal week. We sparred yesterday. And I'm sure not too many people would recommend sparring 5 rounds against Edmund Shabazian on a championship fight week. But, this is what keeps him sane, and this is the type of guy that he is, and it keeps him on edge. But it also is kind of his weight management and everything else. So I think for us as coaches, over time, you learn to adapt to what the athlete needs and what they want. Is it something you recommend? Probably not, but it keeps the guy safe and sane, so this is the way we do it.
Everybody, I got to believe almost everybody is sort of aware of the backstory of this fight and, the comments that were said back and forth and then the scuffle. And then obviously Sean has come out and talked about some of the reasons why those comments affected him the way that they did. Can you just kind of talk about just the difference in his mentality coming into this fight than even the last fight? I mean, the last fight he was going against Israel Adesanya.
Sure.
No one expected him to win. Now he's the champion and you got this personal sort of side to it. How different is he going compared to the last one?
He's very dialed in, Brett, just laser focused on everything that we do. There's not a lot of joking around this time. I think before, we kind of had a good poke, fun, whatever, everything else. This is very business oriented, I think. I don't think it's taking it out of his game or anything by that means, but even by his physique, he's always taken all of his fights seriously, but this one he's definitely dialed in for, and which he should be. Randy Couture has always told us, the hardest fight of your career is your first title defense. And we've trickled that down to every guy that's ever been champion in our gym. And there's a reason for it, because the target's on your back now, and I think he understands that.
You mentioned his physique that has gotten some attention online, that he seems to have. He's got the 6-pack, maybe the 8-pack. He looks like he's in phenomenal shape. I mean, you train your guys hard. You prepare them for fights.
Yeah.
Is there a crazy difference? And what do you attribute that to in terms of why does his physique look different?
No, I don't think anything's really changed in his training element. I think just because of last camp or the last fight, that last pound and a half was a little difficult for him to make that championship weight. And it's just something I think that for him he wanted to be better at, which I love about our athletes. We can always better our best, and we'll take every time and figure out what we can do a little bit better. And in that regard, although the fight went very, very well, I think the weight cut could have gone better, and this is why I think you're seeing the Sean's physique the way it is right now.
In an interview with Megan O'Leary, talking about the scuffle in T-Mobile, Sean said that when he was throwing the elbows at Dricus' head, that he temporarily thought about biting him. When you are coaching a guy, and this might sound like a weird question, but you spent some time with Mike Tyson, getting Francis Ngannou ready for that boxing match. When you have a guy who literally will lose his mind and bite his opponent in there, is there a way that you have to hone that, to direct that type of energy? As a coach, when you have that type of individual, what does that do for you?
There's two sides to me when it comes to that. There's the side that's I love the dog in him. I love that. It's that mentality of, hey, bro, if my boy's going to fight, we're all jumping in. And then later on I'm going to tell him how dumb that was and why did we do that, but you're my boy, so I'm always going to have your back, I just think it shows that that's always his mentality. You're going to talk trash or you're going to say something and, you want to say, let's fight right here and there. He's about that life. He's going to move a couple kids over and he's going to hop a chair and he's going to try to, elbow your brainstem off. So I love that tenacity. It's kind of the old school Xtreme Couture, the way we come up with the guys that we had in the room, and that's Sean Strickland.
One thing that Sean has said since he won the championship, he's maybe this is just his sense of humor, but it's self-deprecating, right? They're like, hey, you're fighter of the year. Oh, you're UFC champion. He's like, wow, the quality has really gone down in this sport, He's also said that the belt doesn't matter, this and that. Do you like that? Is that kind of just who he is and how he operates and that works for him? Or do you want to sometimes tell him, no, dude, you're the best in the world? Do you try to talk him up, just in terms of his confidence and that part of his mindset? How do you approach that with Sean?
In spurts. I think we try to do that in spurts. Like Danny and I understand the importance of what the UFC Championship is. And I don't want anybody to ever take it lightly or diminish the value of it is, because I see people work so very hard to even try to accomplish that goal. A great friend of mine Joe Benavidez, I was there with him many a times and trying to see him claw and scratch to realize that potential of UFC world champion. And for me, it always pains me for Joe never to get that belt. So for somebody to devalue it and say it's not that big of a deal, I want him to understand there's people out there that would kill to be in the position that you are today. I don't want to change who he is, but I also want him to understand there's a value to the importance of being a UFC champion. There's not very many people that reach that pinnacle, especially beating a guy like Israel Adesanya the way that he did. So there's a part of me that wants him to understand the importance of, what we have, and it goes away quick. I tell guys all the time, enjoy signing those posters. Don't bitch about signing the posters, because one day that's all going to go away. And I've been in the sport for 15 years now. There's guys that I came up with that are no longer signing those posters, and they miss it.
Just 2 more questions for you. I mean, we always talk about pressure in front of these big fights.
Sure.
And I think when I look at it, I just think about for pressure for Sean is if he doesn't get it done, there's always that question of like, oh, if you don't get it done in like a championship fight, oh, you don't want to become a UFC champion, you lose your belt. In this case, because of what's been said and because of how Sean's reacted, would there be a pressure in terms of like he can't lose to this guy after what he said? Do you think that adds anything to this fight?
I don't think so. For me, I think it's just the competition that Sean loves the most. He loves competing. He loves fighting, right? So the outcomes of the aftermath of whatever happens, like the belts and the this and that, I don't think it's what he's motivated by. I just think it's really a weird situation, because yes, you continue to win, you're going to get to that championship level, you're going to have these belts, but it's the process that he loves more than the product. He loves the process. He loves his team. He loves the grind. He loves training. So if he still has that in his life, no matter what, win, lose, or draw, he's going to be happy. He's making the money he wants to make now. He's always motivated by that. But also, it's just the fact that he gets to go in there and fight another man. That, to me, in the competition is what he cares about more than anything.
Yeah. Final thing for you, and obviously you're not going to give the game plan away, but
Sure.
you're good about kind of giving us these hints about the X's and O's type stuff.
Absolutely.
What does this fight look like if it's going Sean Strickland's way? What are some of the things that you have drilled into him that you need him to do in this fight?
Obviously pace. I don't think that's any secret. I don't think we're giving away a game plan at all, but distance management. Dricus should get a lot of credit for his growth, I think, in not only from, his start of his UFC career, but when you break him down from the Brad Tavares fight, which a guy who I cornered for with Brad, to when he fought Robert Whittaker, he's shown a lot of great improvements. Improvements in the regards of, I think he understands more of what he's trying to accomplish in his setups. He's doing things differently. You saw him fight Whittaker primarily out of southpaw position, which I thought was very smart in putting his power hand forward. So, but he's strong from that position. He's explosive from that position. So I think there's things that he's going to grow upon as he gets, going as an athlete, and that championship pedigree that he's only going to get better at. So, for me, this fight in particular is going to be pace, distance management, and really, I think the rounds 4 and 5 are where we shine. And I think that's where, for our guy, if we're winning this fight, that's when you're going to start seeing the outpour of almost getting in a finish and the volume and everything else in the championship rounds.
Appreciate your time very much, man.
Always,
Thank
brother.
you so much. And it's
My
not
pleasure.
his first rodeo. I've never seen you wear a Raptors jersey in my life, and then all of a sudden, Toronto, you got one on, huh?
That Chris Curtis jersey, buddy.